Ayo, welcome to the Best Day Ever podcast. It's your boy, Mr. Trusav. Whew. It's been a long week. I didn't think I'd be back here with you guys. It has been a long week. It's weird. It shouldn't have been as long because I'm only working one place. But now that I have all of this free time and the Lord gifted your boy with this PlayStation, it's amazing how much time there isn't in the day all of a sudden. It is absolutely weird. It is the best Christmas present I ever got, even though we don't celebrate that sort of thing around here. It's I forgot how much fun video games were and such. It's been at least 6 years since I had anything like that. So I'm enjoying every moment of it. Again, gamer tag, TRUSAV52. Anybody can get it. It doesn't matter. Whatever game you got, I'll cop it just so you can get smacked on it. I'm absolutely not tripping. Well, in other news, when we last left you, what I had meant to tell you last time was that we saw another couple that we knew last week. We ended up going to this arcade situation down the street from us. It's a bar / arcade that has all the old school games like Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom and Miss Pac-Man. A lot of the games from like 70s, late 70s, early 80s. A couple of ones from the 90s. A lot of pinball machines, skee ball, foosball, that type of stuff. It was interesting. They used to live in our old building, and we still keep in touch. They came out, and we didn't leave the house till about 12 o'clock, 12:30. So, for us old people, it was late night, so we got to hang out with the young folks, do what young people do. It was cool. I mean, it was nostalgic, to say the least. Got to play some old school games, hang out with them. They were drunk, they're the motherfucker. And we rode the little scooters down there and pulled up, and it was a Saturday night. So yeah, it was live. Like, there was people out being young, being drunk, and I was like, yeah, I don't miss this. I'll take my Bed Bath & Beyond and IKEA trips instead of a late night out. But it was cool. Got to do the double date situation. Got my ass whooped in skee ball, foosball, a whole bunch of other shit. But it was cool. For the little $10 we spent, wasn't bad. It was entertaining. Closed it down. I think we were the last people to leave. Then we came back, gave them the tour, all that exciting stuff. Hopefully, it's something we could do more in the future. It was kind of fun. I'm become a hermit in my older age. I don't really like going out. I'm not really a fan of the late night scene. You got to catch me before it's dark. I try not to go out after nighttime, or excuse me, after dusk. Because every video I watch on World Star, something bad happening. It's always at nighttime, in front of the club, the bar, fuck at the art museum. Something bad's always happening. But I think I'm gonna get out of my shell if I can stop playing this fucking PlayStation. Which reminds me. So, like I said, I got the PlayStation last weekend. I think I got it on a Saturday. So I've had a little bit of time, send out friends requests, all that type of stuff. Start working on my little characters. And I don't know, still kind of 50-50 about it. I'm excited that I got it, but I can see this consuming a lot of my time. First couple nights, it was the up all night show. I don't have to be at work until 8, and I try to squeeze an hour of the gym in before I go to work. I was up till like 1 o'clock. I was getting busy. The first night, I was playing my man Lloyd Banks, and it was a couple one-sided ass whoopings. So I was like, shit, I still got it. For those who don't know, you can play other people online on PlayStation and Xbox. So it's not just someone has to be in the room with you. You could play somebody on the other side of the world. So after I had played him, I was like, let me go test my skills in the real world, see what's happening. So get on, play this dude from New Orleans of all places, and I had the microphone on, and I wasn't really paying attention because, I mean, you don't really think about what you're saying when you don't have a microphone on you. And so I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, "Oh, you can come to bed." I was like, "Man, you see me getting down real quick. Like, as soon as I'm done, I'll come lay down or whatever." She's like, all right, I love you. She gives me a kiss, and I'm like, all right, I love you. I'll be in there in a little bit. So the dude on the microphone said, "Oh, that's so cute. She wants you to come lay down with her." I was like, "Hey, motherfucker, shut up." Because I didn't even think about it. So for the rest of the game, anytime I would do something where I would score or I would get a tackle, he'd be like, "Hey, yo, ain't it time for you to go lay down? Did your wife say it was past your bedtime?" I'm like, "Hey, man, shut the fuck up." So yeah, it was already worth it was worth my little bit of money just for that right there. But we played a good game. I ended up beating him like on the last drive or something. I ended up winning. So now I'm really not going to bed now. So I played another guy, I beat him. Play another game, I win. So I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to sleep on my little undefeated streak right here. So I go to bed feeling good, go to work. I come back the next day and I got my ass whooped all night. I don't know what was going on. I was losing to people with worse teams than me. I was just taking ass whoopings left and right. It was, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I forgot how to use the buttons. I don't know what happened, but it was not a good feeling because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the king of Madden. I'm gonna get in some Madden tournaments. I'm gonna do this. No. That's not what was gonna happen. So I decided to switch it up and was like, well, let me play 2K. Like, let me see what's up with the little basketball game. I was good at this, and that has changed completely. It's more because I've been out of the game for a while. I haven't played a video game in years, so a lot of the things that people would be complaining about, I didn't fully understand. And a lot of the things now are in-game transactions. So to be good at a certain game, you have to buy certain things. You have to buy this certain kind of jacket, or I shouldn't say to be good, to be cool. You have to buy a certain kind of clothes. You have to buy certain extra features, especially in 2K. There's a lot. Or if you're someone like me who doesn't have time to play the game every day, you can purchase a player who's 85 overall, and the scale's on 0 to 100. When you start the game and you're absolutely horrible, you're a 60, and the top being 99. So if you don't have the time to play the game every day for 8 hours a day, for I think $50, you can purchase these upgrades so that your player will be at 85, which blew my mind. But I was like, there's probably people that do it because you want to play, but you don't have the time. And the reason why this is important is because I had a middle school moment when I'm playing the game, because I'd create my little dude. And I've watched a couple videos. I've seen people play before, so I got the general gist of it. There's a thing in 2K, NBA 2K20, where you have to go to, you don't have to, but there's a park that you can go to. And it has 6 or 7 different courts, and you can play pickup games with other people who are online. Now, what I didn't know is when you're terrible. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. My lovely wife decided to hit me with the door as she walked in, but I digress. So when you go to the park, when you first start, you don't have a change of clothes. So you have on a brown shirt and like some gray sweats and some ugly ass 2K shoes. But what that tells everybody is that you're a brown shirt and you're under like 65. So no one will play with you. So I stand next to the court. There's a little place that you stand next to and it says you got next. So I stand there and there was 2 guys standing next to me. So all of a sudden they move off of the little squares that indicate that they're going to play. So I'm like, this is weird. So I go to another court. Same thing keeps happening. Every time I walk over, people will step off the things and they just kind of stand there like, what are you doing? So at first I was like, oh, well, this is weird. Like, it must be broken. And then I realized the third or fourth time, oh, it's me. They just don't want to play with me because my character sucks. So I'm like, but it doesn't matter, guys. I just want to play. They're like, nah. Because I still had the microphone. So you can hear people talk. And they'll be like, yo, watch out. Like, my homie wants to play. Whoop, whoop. And they'll be like an 85, 86. It's like, but I was here first. Like, nah. So that hurt. I'm not going to lie. I went from getting my ass whooped in Madden to nobody wants to play with me in 2K. But that was all right. I fucking wiped the tears from my eyes. And I moved on. After that, the next day, I moved to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a little bit more easy. You see something, you shoot it. Pretty simple. What I forgot was I haven't played Call of Duty so long, and then I didn't have a microphone the times I'd played before. So it gets live and direct on Call of Duty. Boy, I forgot how much fun it was talking shit to people. I mean, in my professional life, like, I'm somebody's manager. Like, I can't really talk to these kids how I really want to, or talk to customers how I really want to. The only time I really get to talk like that is with you guys, or maybe in the group chat, something like that. So at first I was kind of calm, cool, and collected. It was like, oh, hey, good job, team. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Or I would just be giving out instructions like where people are hiding at, stuff like that. And until about the third or fourth game, I was telling people how much they sucked and how their mom would be disappointed, how I just killed them 5 times in a row, and a whole bunch of other shit. And it was really funny because I had 2 kids on my team that couldn't have been older than middle school age from what they sounded like, and they were talking the most shit. All the good shit. Suck my dick. You're a bitch. You're all that good shit. They were talking the most shit. I mean, I can't blame them. I probably would have too if I was that age. But I mean, it made it exciting. That's a definite. And then usually I won't play with the mic at nighttime because I get a little riled up. But during the daytime when there's nobody here, oh yeah. I don't know what happened, but I caught the bug and I started talking that big shit too. Especially when somebody will kill you 3 times in a row, then you get them. It's like, yeah. But I mean, I calmed down because I mean, that's not family friendly. We can't do all that. Yeah, right. It's even funnier because I went to Wally World and I was in the electronics section because I was looking for another game that my coworker was talking about. And this little kid, he was probably 9, 10, something like that. He comes back to the gaming section and he gets a copy of Madden. And so he gets it from the employee, and I was like, what are you about to do with that? He's like, I'm about to go play online. I was like, you don't want no problems. Tru Sav 52. He's like, what? He's like, catch the smoke 510. So I was dying. So this little kid hit me up in the Walmart with his gamer tag, which is absolutely crazy. The fact that he just had it off the top of his head and was like, yeah, anybody can get it. Like, that's what's up. Like, I try, again, I don't play that often, but it was funny to know that even little kids have their gamer tag on deck, ready for you to catch these hands, these metaphorical hands, I guess. Catch the smoke 510. I'm gonna whip that little kid's ass too. If I ever catch him online, I'm gonna bust his ass, without a doubt. So in more adult news, I guess I had an employee quit this week for a rather silly reason, I think. We obviously we work in food prep, so you've got to have your hairnet or your hat, whatever. So this girl comes in with a headscarf on, like the old school Big Mama's house headscarf, which I guess in regular life is fine, but I mean we're at work, you can't really be rocking that. So I pull her to the side. I'm like, hey, you can't wear that. Like you need to wear like your hat or something that says Dickies on it. Like that's not really gonna work out here. So she says, "Oh well, the lady from HR never told me that." I said, well, "She never told you that you couldn't wear your head wrap to work?" Well, no. So I said, "Okay, well, let's go ask her." So we go to the back, find the HR lady, and she says, "I asked her. I was like, hey, when you did your new hire intake, did you tell them that they couldn't wear head wraps?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course." So I kind of look at the young lady. I'm like, "So, can you take it off?" And she's like, "Well, no." I was like, "Well, I, I mean, I really don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, you have to take it off if you want to come to work." And I said, "Well, the only way that I can not make you take it off is if it's for a religious reason." And she kind of pauses. I can see the wheels turning. So I'm like, "Well, is there a religious reason why you can't take it off?" And she says, "Yes." I said, "Okay, like what religious reason is it?" She said, "Because I'm black." I said, could you say that again?" She's like, "Yeah, it's part of my religion because I'm black." So me and the HR lady look at each other because she's also black. And she says, well, what do you mean your religion is black? I was like, I'm black. I'm not wearing that. The HR lady's black. She's not wearing that. So what do you mean? She's like, yeah, it's part of my my culture to wear this. And I was like, again, um, black isn't a culture or a religion. I was like, look here, and I'm trying to keep a straight face, and so is the HR lady because this is probably the silliest thing I've ever heard. So I told her, look, you can take the head wrap off, or you can just not work today. So she says, you know what? I'm just gonna go home, which is like, all right, that's fine, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with you. So she ends up coming home. Then the next day, she calls me and says that she's gonna quit because she felt too embarrassed to come back now because she felt like she was being made fun of for her head wrap situation, which is the exact opposite of what was going on. But okay, I get it. And uh, I I would I would have let it ride had she just been like, "Look, I'm getting my hair done. I've only got half my hair done. I look crazy under this. Like, could I just rock it?" Like, if that would have been the thing, then maybe I would have let it rock. But when she tried to lie about it and say, "Oh, this is my religion, this is my culture," it was kind of like, okay, now you think I'm stupid, and like I just can't let it ride right now. And there was another young lady the next day that we were. She had came in with a hair hat on. Hashtag new era snapback. She came in with a wig on. Is what a hair hat is. And I had stopped her for a second and was like, "Hey, or no, I." She had asked me about what had happened because some other employees had brought it up, and I told her like, "Hey, the girl quit because we wouldn't let her wear her do rag or her hair cover, whatever." And so the girl tells me, "Oh, well, that's why I put this wig on today, was because my hair is a mess under there." And I was like, "Well, I mean, why does it matter? Like, why does it matter if your hair is quote unquote messed up? Like, we work at a barbecue place. Like, no one's really tripping." And I was like, "To be honest, you look crazy as fuck with that wig on. Like, it's it's not combed out. It's got blonde. Like, it's just a bad look. Like, I didn't tell her this because I'm a nice person. I kept I kept my opinion to myself. But in my mind, I was just thinking, like, what made you think that that was necessary? Like, just rock your hair. Like, it might not be the length or the style or the whatever you might want it to be, but when you try to cover up who you are, like, it's only going to make things more uncomfortable. Like, and people can see that you're uncomfortable because it. I don't even know how to describe it. It looks like. No, let me stop. I'm not even going to be mean about it. But I mean, I get it. Like, people are self conscious about certain things, about their appearance, how they look, how they sound. I get it. But I told her, I was like, look, you are who you are. Like, it doesn't. There's someone right now that finds you attractive without your haircut, with whatever situation you got going on under there. And this carried on to the break room. Because remember last time we were talking about the ugly people know they're ugly. So I had followed that conversation up with them by saying, it doesn't really matter what you look like. Like, the only thing that matters is personality. Like, looks will get you in the door, but personality will keep you there. If you're a good person, it don't matter if you're bald headed. It don't matter if you got acne. It don't matter if you're overweight. Like, none of that really matters. Like, to certain people, it matters if you're attractive, but at one point, we're all going to be old, and none of us are going to look like we once did. So why even trip off stuff like that? I mean, I understand. I understand not having confidence in your looks. I mean, when I was in middle school, I had zero swag. If I could find a picture, I would post it. Like, if you knew me in middle school, your boy Tru Sav had absolutely zero swag. I was wearing the Fila's with the Ross matching sweatsuit. Not to mention the what was I wearing? I think I had a picture with a pink collared shirt tucked into some blue and white acid wash jeans. Not not official. But I mean, I still thought that I thought I was shit, and that was when I wasn't wearing my Mervin's brand fucking tennis shoes. Um, I would say it reminds me of, we're talking about 48 Laws of Power. There's Law 34. Be royal in your fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. So, I mean, really all it is you'll be treated the way you treat yourself. So if you act like you're important, then people think you're important. Like, your attitude, your attitude will project either weakness or strength. So if you're walking around like, oh, I had to put this wig on because I just don't look that good. Or you could just walk around with your fro out and be like, hey, this is me. And people will have to respect it. Because if you're not ashamed of what you're doing or what you're wearing, then why would other people? They will think that, that's just the way it is. This really makes me think about, there was a young lady that I worked with. Well, there's a couple of them in Bakersfield. And there was two girls that were cousins. One of them was, I don't know, 5 foot. Maybe she had to be like 180, 190. And her cousin was a little bit taller, maybe like 5'4", 5'5", but she was a little more shapely. She was the cuter of the two, we'll say. But she had the whole fake eyelashes, always had her goodies hanging out, always came to work with a full face of makeup. And her cousin didn't really. Her cousin had more of the personality. The one who was quote unquote more attractive. What was it? What was her name? The short one was Kim, and the older one was Stephanie, from what I remember. And Stephanie was the quote unquote good looking one, and Kim was the quote unquote unattractive one. And I noticed as time would go by that Kim would try to emulate Stephanie's appearance. Now, the thing that tripped me out about both of them was that this is in Bakersfield, California. And if you don't know, in the summertime, it's hot. Like, it's not like, oh, it's mid 90s hot. Like, it's 80 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's probably, it hits 100. And then at nighttime, it's about 90 at 10 o'clock at night. So wearing makeup at work is not a good idea. Like, you're just going to sweat. Like, there is no not sweating at work. So if you have a full face of makeup on and you're sweating, you're going to look like a sad clown. Which is what happened, and your eyelashes are going to start melting off. It's just not a good look. So one day I was talking to Kim and I asked her, I was like, yo, like, I've never seen you wear makeup before. Like, you've been here before I was here. And I've never seen you with makeup on. Like, why the change? It's like, oh, well, my cousin wears it and this and this. And like, she's so cute. And this, and I was like, let me stop you right there. Have you seen the type of guys that your cousin attracts? Like, and it's not a knock on her, but are those the type of guys that you want to deal with? She's like, well, no. I was like, well, like, why would you dress in that kind of manner then? Or why would you try to emulate her behavior if that's not something that you like? It's like, well, I didn't think about it. I was like, again, I was like, look, I don't mean to be mean, but if that's what you like, then you should do it. But if you're just trying to mimic her behavior because you think she's attractive and you're not, like, well, you're wrong. Like, there's someone out there that will like you for you. You don't have to dress a certain way or act a certain way to get people to like you. Like, that's always going to be a recipe for disaster. I was like, that and those eyelashes are crazy. Like, why do you have those big ass eyelashes on? And like I told her, like, I'm not trying to make fun of you. Like, I'm just being serious. Like, you have to learn to love yourself for who you are if you want someone to love you. Because otherwise you're going to be playing pretend. You're going to try to guess what someone wants to get them to like you, and you're never going to be happy. And thank God she took my advice and got that Earl Shy off of her face. Then, as a matter of fact, I think I told this. There was another young lady, I can't think of her name, but she worked there too. Oh, now I do. Linda. Listen, Linda. Linda used to do this too. She would come into work with a full face of makeup. I mean, eyeliner, mascara, all that. So I told both of them, I was like, look, because I mean, it was Stephanie wasn't attractive. Like, she was, how do I say this nicely? No, it don't matter. She was really hood. Like, she was hood. And these are, everyone that I'm describing is white. This is in Bakersfield. She was like East Bakersfield hood. Like, had 2 kids and she was, I think, 21. Different guys. She was, Linda, she was a little different. She was going to college, but she wasn't your typical video vixen. She looked like a regular looking chick from Bakersfield, kind of. I wouldn't say that she was overweight. She just wasn't. How would I describe her? She looked like a cowgirl. Like, I work on a farm. I'm eating good. She was a nice person, but I mean, she wasn't your typical standard of American beauty. But so they would both try to doll themselves up when they came to work. And again, it's Bakersfield, it's 100 degrees, so your face is melting. And they both had horrible skin, like terrible acne. So one day I pulled them into the back and I said, look, I've got to tell you guys something. You guys are out there looking crazy as fuck. Like, your face is melting halfway through your shift. Like, it's just a bad look. I don't care what you wear at work. I can't tell you that you can't wear makeup. I can't tell you anything like that. But what I can tell you is that it's that's not a good look for you guys. Like, why are you guys like? Why do you come to work knowing that you're gonna sweat, wearing that kind of makeup? And they both were like, "Oh, because there's so many cute guys that come in here, and I want to look cute." And I was like, "There's nothing cute about your guy's face right now. Like, if I was coming in here because I thought you were cute and I saw you like that would make me be like, I'm gonna pass." And I was like, "No, look, I'm not the. My opinion isn't the end all be all, and I don't speak for every man in the world. But if there's a guy that likes you, like, I don't think that you putting on makeup and doing all that is gonna be what catches him. Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, as a matter of fact, it's like if there is a guy that likes you and he comes in here and sees you at work, I think that he could understand that you don't have on a full face of makeup because I mean it's just kind of silly. Not to mention all the money that you're spending on makeup for it to just melt off. But I mean, hey, that's what you want to do. So I could again, I could see the wheels were turning, and they were like, okay, we're listening. So I was like, look, I tell you what, let's make a friendly wager. At the time, I think it was around November. So I said, this is the deal. We'll make a bet. The bet will be between the two of you that whoever can come to work without wearing makeup for the rest of the month, or I'm sorry, what was it? Whoever, okay, you had to not come to work with makeup on for the month. So both of them had to make it 30 days without wearing makeup to work. After the 30 days, the first person to show up with makeup on lost. So if they made it the 30 days, I would give both of them $100. And then after that, whoever came with makeup on lost, and the other person would get two. So really, I was gonna have to dole out $300. But then they said, "Oh well, they'll take it one step further and say, so you have to go." And this was their thinking, not mine. They said, "We'll both go 30 days, and after the 30 days, it's winner take all. So the loser doesn't get any money, but whoever the winner is will get the entire three." And they're like, "Then we can buy all the makeup we want." And I was like, "Sure, that's what you want to do." So first week goes by, second week goes by, third week goes by. When we get to the month, I tell them like, "Hey, it's been a month. Like, are you guys ready to start now?" And they both came to me and were like, "You know what? You were right." And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "My skin is getting better now because I'm not wearing all this makeup. I'm here sweating. Like, I don't look crazy when I get out of work. Like, I just feel better." Like, I was like, "So does that mean that the bet's off?" They're like, "Oh no, the bet's not off." And so I said, "Look, we'll just do this. Since you guys both learned the lesson, we'll just split the money. I'll give you both 150 and we'll call it a win. Is that all right?" So they're like, "Yeah, of course." So I gave them the money, and then they ended up not wearing makeup to work again. And it was refreshing, dare I say, that they kind of realized that you don't have to doll yourself up for somebody. Like, you're at work, you're just trying to get this money and go home. Like, you don't have to put on a face, or you don't have to be pretty at all times to catch the attention of some guy. Like, you're at work. Because up to that point, they both had some pretty negative experiences with guys. I think, yeah, Linda. Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna get into that in detail right now, but that's another time. But yeah, they both ended up feeling a lot better. They never wore makeup as long as I was there until they left. I didn't really see them in social situations, but I'm sure there's some makeup on here and there. But that was my lesson to them, and to thine own self be true. That's one that I always try to tell people, especially the people that I work with, especially younger people. It's like, you don't have to be a slave to fashion. Like, you don't have to get dressed for other people. Like, you're not here to impress anybody. My parents used to always tell me that whenever I'd be like, "Oh, I need these kind of clothes, these kind of shoes," and they would always tell me, "School isn't a fashion show. You are there to learn. You're not here to impress these other kids. These other kids ain't got no money. Like actually, excuse me, 95% of the people that you're with in high school, you'll never see again in your life. Never, ever, ever. Which, of course, to me was unfathomable. Like, but I see so and so every day. Like, yeah, but after you graduate, you're not going to see them ever, 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 ever. So that was what I was trying to stress to the girls that I worked with in Bakersfield and the ladies that I work with now is you have to love you for you. There's no amount of head wraps or makeup or anything will replace the confidence that you need to have in yourself. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get into a situation where you're going to start dating, and this is male and female. It's just happened to be that the ladies I was talking to seem more relevant. But if you get into a situation where you're dependent on someone for your happiness, you're going to be in trouble. Because you should never be dependent on someone else for your happiness. When we got married and I gave my beautiful speech, one of the things I had said was that when we're getting married, it's not two halves becoming whole. We were two whole people becoming one. Because it's like I tell my wife, it's like, you shouldn't depend on me for your happiness. Just like I don't depend on you for my happiness. I can make myself happy as you should make yourself happy. Because when you start depending on someone for your happiness, now they have control over you. And this is when relationships become unbalanced. And now this person can say, oh, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're fat. And now they have control over you. And that's not what we want. You have to be confident in your appearance. If for no other reason than to keep yourself sane. Because that's how I became the capping champion that I am today. Because trust me, I used to look crazy as fuck in 7th and 8th grade, even in high school. I still to this day have no real sense of style. Not like my man Pretty Tony. My man Phonetics is Gucci down to the socks. As a matter of fact, shout out to Phonetics. I've been trying. I have been trying and battling through the holidays to get back to the gym. My man Phonetics held it down since we went to his son's football game, his first football game in high school. Me and him went, and ever since then, my man's been on his fitness thing. He posted a picture the other day. What was he wearing? Had on the red sweatsuit, looking like somebody's dad at a football game. Is that Mr. Phonetics? Yeah, what's up? So, I mean, shout out to my man, because I know for a while he was kind of concerned. He was like, I'm starting to let myself go. I'm starting to get this dad bod together. And, instead of wallowing in it, my man stuck it out, started going back to the gym, started eating right, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And what do you know? He's back to Billy D. Shout out to my man. Speaking of being confident in appearance, so we're going on vacation in the next couple of weeks, and the lovely lady that I live with, I always tell her, I can always tell her when she's starting to feel herself in her opinion and her appearance. She starts going to the gym, start getting her lips, hips, and fingertips together, and she always whenever we're on vacation, she decides to get her hair done. And she always buys these packs of hair and gets it braided. So now her hair is like 30-something inches long. And I always I called her alter ego. So when she's here, she's the wifey. But when she gets her hair done, I call her Bonquisha. Because she gets to flipping her hair over her shoulder. She gets to popping her gum loud. And it's just like, it's like a whole other person. I mean, I appreciate it. I love it when people are confident in who they are. I think it's fucking hilarious. She says she doesn't do it, but I mean, again, I love it. I love when people are confident in who they are. And there's something to be said for it. Like, a lot of times people are not necessarily embarrassed, but as I've gotten older, I realized not everybody was encouraged when they were kids. Not everyone's parents were like, oh, good job. Oh, you're smart. Oh, you can do this. Like some people's parents shitted on them. So, especially in a managerial role, I have to be very mindful of that, how I correct people, the types of things I say to people. I mean, just in the everyday situation, I mean, I joke a lot, and a lot of people don't take it as jokes. They take it as you literally attacking them. And so, with part of being confident in your appearance is you have to be confident in yourself. It's just who you are as a person in general. I mean, I didn't know that I was broke until I graduated from high school. Like I thought we're just regular middle class people, and then I met some regular middle class people, and I was like, oh, we are not that. And it didn't really bother me. What I think what bothered me was being middle class, because being middle class was boring. I wasn't. I guess it wasn't necessarily being ashamed, but back then, like, it wasn't cool to be that. It was cool to be out acting a fool, being a savage. Like, that was cool. Like, being middle class is boring. Like, oh, the lights are on all the time. Like, oh, we always have money for food. Oh, this is so boring. I know it sounds so stupid, but there was something exciting about going to Oak Park, or there was something exciting about being in Meadowview, Valley High. These are all neighborhoods in Sacramento. And there was something exciting about being in G Parkway or being around people who were selling drugs or doing whatever, because to me, that wasn't the norm. This is something new. This is something exciting. But the cold part about it is that the people who lived in that situation wanted to be middle class so bad. Well, not even middle class. They wanted more of the stability that came with that, the two-parent household. I remember there was a dude I used to kick it with, and one of the things that Richard was big on was I always had to be at my sister's sporting events and vice versa. Like, everyone would show up. Mom, dad, sister. If there was other relatives that were there, they would all come support. And the dude I was hanging out with, he was by far the best athlete I've ever seen in my life. Like, hands down, best football player I've ever played with, best track, everything. And he was like, I think that's really cool. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, that your family like comes and supports each other. He's like, my parents never came to my games. And I was like, what? I was like, bro, you're the best football player I've ever seen. Like, if I was as good as you, I don't think I could keep my parents from coming to the game. And he was like, yeah, my family just doesn't do that. And it kind of made me think like, well, damn. Because again, there are certain things that people do that I didn't understand, because my problem was I looked at everyone's situation through my eyes of everyone has a two-parent household. Everyone's family acts like that. And it's like, no, that's not what it was. But again, even being part of being confident in yourself is personal accountability. Like, that's the absolute number one thing. Because if you can't admit that you're wrong, that's going to be a big issue. Because a lot of things with personal accountability, it's what did I do? Because for the longest time, I used to play the blame game. It's the teacher's fault. It's my mom's fault. It's the police fault. It's this person's fault. And it's like, well, no. Like, sometimes it's you. Sometimes you're the problem. And I try to stress that to the younger employees. Like, when it's always someone's fault, when they're not here on time, or it was the customer's fault, it's like, there's nothing wrong with saying you were wrong, even if you weren't. That's the number one lesson I learned to be in a happy relationship. You know how many times I apologize for shit that I didn't do, or when I know that I was right? It's one of the jokes that I tell people, is, especially guys, is I'll ask them this question and say, I don't know if you're ready for a long-term relationship when you answer this question right. It's like, let's say you go home and you tell your wife 2 + 2 is 5. I'm sorry. You ask your wife what 2 plus 2 is, and she says 5. What do you say? Oh, I tell her that she's wrong. It's like, nope, absolutely not. Like, well, what do I tell her? You tell her, you know what, 2 plus 2 is 5. I just forgot to carry the one. You are so right. Like, no, well, that's dumb. I'm gonna tell her, and then it's like, look, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Those are the two. Those are your two options. Like, there is no. And this isn't for all women. Some people, and again, this isn't for all men. Some men are like that, and some women have to navigate that, navigate this space too. But the point being, you can't let other people define who you are. You can't let someone saying you're short, ugly, stupid, whatever. You can't let that define you. You have to be willing to know that. Perfect example. I was the same girl that had on that had the wig on, that had the hair hat on. I was talking to her, and I was asking her, like, like, why do you wear the hair hat, and why do you do a couple other things? And she was just like, because without it, I'm just not that cute, and so on and so forth. And that kind of blew my mind, because again, on the scale of 1 to 10, your boy's 100. I don't see it anything less. Maybe a 99.5 some days, but it kind of blew my mind that she said that. And so I said, "Here, we're gonna sing this song together. Are you ready?" I was like, "Can I get a clap?" And so she started clapping with me, and I was like, "No, sing along if you know the words." I am somebody because God loves me, and He will take me just the way that I am, just the way. And she was like, "Oh, you're being silly." And I was like, "Well, no, I'm not being silly." I was like, "You shouldn't put yourself down like that. Like, I mean, who's to say that you're not attractive? Like, there's someone out there right now, again, like I said, who would love the opportunity because they think that you're the baddest thing on the planet. So you can't put yourself down or say that you're not attractive according to someone else's standard. Like, that's not what's up, man. Like, or you can't even be embarrassed about walking around with, so what if you're bald headed? Somebody might like your little bald head. Like that. That's not. It was like I went to the store one day to buy some tampons. Obviously not for me, for the missus. So usually I try to be funny, or I try to be slick, I should say, and I'll buy like some chocolate or cupcakes or whatever, just because I know she'll want them. So I walk into the corner store, and it's two other guys behind the counter. So I'm just like, "Hey, let me get some. What does she want? Always something with wings or some whatever." I'm not up on my tampon lingo. So he was like, "You want what?" So I repeated it. So like they both start looking around, like, these ones?" I'm like, "Yeah." Now, mind you, both of these guys are married. So I'm like, this isn't the first time you've seen a box of tampons, my guy. Like, chill out. So he gives them to me, puts them on the counter, and he's like, "Oh, do you want a bag?" I was like, "A bag? Like, what? I'm going down the street, bro. Like, I'm not tripping about this box of tampons. Like, I don't give a fuck. No one's going to say anything to me about it." It's like, the only thing this box of tampons says to me, if you see me with them, is that I'm just not going to get any pussy for about 4 or 5 days. And luckily, we didn't have any accidents, so nobody's pregnant. And he laughed and he was like, "Yeah, you're right." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm too old to be worried about somebody else's opinion. Like, you don't have no money on the rent. Your opinion doesn't really mean too much to me at this point." I mean, there was a point in life where it might have, but at this point, I'm too old to give a fuck about someone's random comment like that. That's just not going to move me at all. But I mean, it happens. I'm glad I can wake their game up. So, now that we're done with the motivational speeches, the motivational part of the program, I actually thought about it because we were talking about being yourself and being confident in who you are, and it made me think of some people that I thought were funny. So I tried to come up with a top 5 of comedians, but I just couldn't. Like, there was too many. Well, no. You know what? Nope. I just came up with the top five right now. All right. So we're gonna do top five comedians and then maybe some honorable mentions. Maybe two. So a top five and a two. Five, two. Oh, nice number. All right. Honorable mention. I don't know. I really don't know. I think we might have to go back to 10. Nah, we'll do five. It's fine. Whitney Cummings. Fucking hilarious. She is Whitney Cummings even had a show on NBC. Favorite Whitney Cummings joke. She said, and I actually quote this one a lot, especially especially talking to young ladies. She was like, guys always talk about their favorite football teams and they're like, oh, we didn't win the game or we didn't play enough defense. It's like the 49ers don't need you. Like, they're not calling you for help. Like, shut up, Bob. I was like, or she said, like, yeah, that's great. Like, men can pick up heavy stuff or you guys can do all this, but give me the back of a Ford Taurus and a bottle of Sutter Home and I can reproduce, bitch. Fucking hilarious. I love her. She was pretty funny. Um, let's see. Second honorable mention. I would have to say Sinbad? No. Yeah, why not? No. No. Say Eddie Griffin. Um, only because he didn't make. Well, Eddie Griffin didn't make top five. Only because I feel like his show, he was funnier in movies than his stand up. There's a lot of people who aren't going to be in here. I'll clarify a little later. But I feel like they were funnier in their movies than they were as a comic. But that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Eddie Griffin joke. Oh, he did the one about Michael Jackson being his dad. That was it Michael Jackson or was it Prince was his dad? No, we said Richard Pryor was his dad. And he makes the joke about Bill Cosby. And he was saying that Bill Cosby didn't like him. He said, tell Bill I said, have a clip and a smile. Shut the fuck up. Oh. Bringing in the back end. Number 5. Has to be Corey Holcomb. Probably one of the funniest people that you've never heard of. Does a radio show. I'm sorry, does a podcast. 5150 show. Hilarious. I just wish my man would get a little bit more knowledge under his belt. Like, how many times can you talk about baby moms and ain't shit bitches? If you've heard any of the jokes recently about the chick is worth $40, something like that, he started that. Like maybe a year or two ago. But he just doesn't get the credit because he just isn't relatable. But I mean, to his credit, he stays true to his fan base. He will not go mainstream for shit. Which is actually, him and number 4 had the same thing in common. Number 4, my man Cat Williams. If you haven't seen him go hard on the lady from Atlanta, I can't think of her name. Her name is Wanda something. And there's maybe a 10-minute video of him and her going back and forth. And the poor lady did not fare too well. He got on her about her wearing her hair hat. Please, he got on her so bad. Her husband came up to the comedy show that night and pulled a gun on him. That's how funny it was. Like, that's how you know you're funny when somebody has to call in reinforcements, trying to come pull a pistol on you. Number 3. I can't read. Don't mind me. My man Bill Burr. I didn't know who Bill Burr was until there is a rant that he did, or if you could even call it a rant. They did a show in Philly that was like they tried to do like a comedy show before a concert. and it didn't go too well, and they were getting booed. And so most people just did like 4 or 5 minutes and then they just got off stage because they were getting booed unmercifully. My man stood up there in front of the firing range and started doing his jokes. And once they started booing, he was just like, "Look, you're not gonna." It was similar to Bernie Mac at Def Comedy Jam when Bernie Mac comes up. It's like, "I'm not scared of you, motherfuckers." It was the same thing, except my man just kept hitting them with joke after joke because they were in Philly and he's from Boston, and he just kept saying like, "Oh, this is the shittiest. This is Philadelphia is the shittiest town." It's like, you have all these sports teams, but who gives a fuck? It's like a town full of losers. You got the cracked ass Liberty Bell. You got your shitty sandwiches. Um, he's like, Philly is so fucking racist. He's like, you're the home of Joe Louis, one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time, but instead you have a statue of a fucking Rocky, a guy that never fucking existed. And after that, I was an instant fan. That and my man, everyone that I mentioned so far is relatively politically astute. Like they have a really interesting opinion on society in general. Like it's not just dick and pussy jokes. Well, with the exception of my man Corey, he's not too politically astute. He's just funny as shit. But uh, a lot of Bill Burr's stand up is about society in general, and he has a very unique opinion coming from his middle class. It's funny because he's a white guy who's married to a black woman, and a lot of the comics that he hung out with were black, especially number two. So it makes his perspective even that much more interesting. Like he always makes jokes about needing lotion. He's like, you gotta listen to him. Number two, the late great Patrice O'Neill. I didn't appreciate Patrice's brand of comedy until I got older because I didn't really get what he was saying because I was too young to understand. Uh, Favorite Patrice joke, he was talking about taxes. And he was saying, reparations are stupid, this and this. He's like, if you really want to make it fair, then you should say, as reparations, black people should never have to pay a federal income tax. I was like, well, that's dumb. That doesn't make sense. But then as an adult, I was like, oh, I see what you're saying. And I see why no one laughs in the crowd. Because he's like, if people who understand money understand if you don't have to pay your federal income tax, sky's the limit. Because that's 35% of your wages that you can find something else to do. And if you're exempt from taxes, which is a crime in itself, but I promise we'll talk about that one. That's a good one. And then a lot of his dirty old man jokes were funny. A lot of the stuff he did on Opie and Anthony was funny, but it's hard to listen to if you can't get past Opie and Anthony and some of the racist shit that they say. But it was, what was it? The Tale of Black Phillip. That comic gold. So now, the number one, I had to split into two. I couldn't just pick one. I had to do two. So we'll do 1B first. So 1B is my man George Carlin. But anytime there's a stand-up that he did that's on, I'll watch it to completion. The 7 words you can't say, classic. One of the things that he said that really got my attention was when he started talking about what we would call now the 1% of population, when you start to get into that upper echelon of people in society. And it's like, he said, it's all one big party, but you're not in it. He's like, they're all friends, Democrats, Republicans. They all know each other behind the scene. It's all one big game. And you're getting fucked. He's like, you're not part of it. It doesn't matter how much money you make. Like, you will never, ever, ever be in their club. So why even try? And of course, number one, it goes without saying, my man Richard Pryor. Funniest person you've ever seen. Some of his movies left a little bit to be desired, but that's all right. What was it? Comedy at the Sunset. I can't think of the name of it. Classic. His variety show. We'll talk about that in another one. That was fucking way before its time. Just his storytelling and then how it was related to society. And then the movies that he did, like some of the subtle things that were in a lot of the movies he did, I really like that. But the one thing that all of these people have in common is that stay true to themselves, didn't care about what other people said. Because yeah, a lot of them tell jokes that you're not supposed to tell. Oh, if you say that, your career will be over. But I guess not, because they're all pretty funny and they're all still alive and kicking. Comedy specials still smacking, and for the ones that are still alive, they're still relatively popular. So I guess as long as you have confidence in yourself, it seems to have worked out for them. Uh oh, starting to get the eye. Oh, look at that, perfect. Right, I'm so professional. Right in an hour. So next week we are going on vacation. Oh, I'm sorry, the week after next. So I don't know about next week. It might be a Tru Sav Chronicles because we're going to be out of town. I'm not sure where we're going yet. It's supposed to be a surprise, so we'll see. Um, Same thing as usual. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tru Sav Comedy at facebook.com. On the PS4, TRUSAV52. Anybody can get it. Questions, comments, concerns, besteverypodcast at gmail.com. Hopefully I can find some pictures of what I looked like back in the day. And because I was ugly as a baby, I'm not even going to front. I was a gremlin looking ass baby. So if even I think like I look like 100 out of a scale of 1 to 10, you should too. But I can't get yesterday back. I might not get tomorrow. So that makes today the best day ever. Holla at your boy.